Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Bodio, and with me I have Kaylie Horowitz.
Hello.
And Eddie Gibby Gibson.
You know, I was going to do a whole bit about how I've got cookies or something, which I actually do. But Kaylie is just like an all out of sorts right now, and it's throwing off any plans that I had.
I'm a wreck. My friends made me laugh, and I started crying, and now I can't stop crying.
My friends made me laugh, and they accidentally made me cry. It's a tragedy.
Yeah.
That's just the like title for a Panic at the Disco song right there.
Speaking of potential tragedies, not to date. I hate it when we date ourselves in these things, but whatever, I'm doing it.
Okay.
Fantastic Four First Steps just came out with a trailer.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I thought you were going to open with one, and I was just like, it sure did.
It's a trailer.
It's so funny to me. People seem unenthusiastic about this one.
Mm-hmm.
I do see like a split audience, because I see some people that are really hype for this movie, but then I have not been bitten by the hype bug really for this one. I don't know.
When I watched it, my first opinions are that the cast is pretty good, but it's always going to be, it's Disney.
Pedro!
Yeah, Pedro Pascal's in something. I at least want to like give it a little bit of attention. Yeah. You know, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, been really enjoying that game. Ben Grimm, my dad, looks awful.
Father.
The thing looks bad.
I like that he's more comic accurate.
Yeah, like original comics. That was going to be my other thing. I don't like how skinny he is. Let me finish that thought. My other thing was, it's weird that they're going with like the 60s, 80s aesthetic.
Yeah, like the retrofuturist like 60s idea.
Is this supposed to be like some multiverse shenanigans? Because I've been unplugged from like greater Marvel Cinematic for over a decade. Because I was under the impression that like Iron Man and Thor and Avengers were the greater public's in the canon first experience with aliens and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Whereas this is saying, no, it happened in the 60s, and the Fantastic Four were a known quantity for a long time before the events of this movie, before Lady Silver Surfer and Galactus came around.
And I don't know if it's the same, and I don't know the numbers. I'm not that deep a fan, but like whatever the Marvel MCU main timeline, whatever that universe is, I don't know if they are existing in that one so much as now the MCU is exploring whatever variations, timeline, whatevers of universes in film worlds. I don't know if it's meant to be the same reality or if it's going to end up getting dragged into a mainstream one later down the line, whether it's in this movie or not. But I do believe it is meant to be an earlier time period, just not perhaps in the same reality with everything else that's gone on with Avengers, all the other movies, basically.
Yeah. Because I know for a fact they are introducing Doctor Doom, but Doctor Doom is coming from another reality because they're doing RDJ, probably his reality, and he jumps ship or some shit.
It's the what's its terms that have to be the incorrect. It's been years since I watched the Loki series, but the things that need to be pruned from the timelines. That I'm wondering if that's it. That Doom hops into this timeline in his kind of spree across the multiverse.
Because I'm also aware of, and this is where my opinions start to sour, because the thoughts on Fantastic Four, it looks fine. I'll let it come out before I run and see what the general public says. Mm-hmm. I know my buddy was describing to me how they plan on finally introducing X-Men to the MCU, and
it's been 84 years.
Yeah. As a Marvel head, I think X-Men is their strongest property. But I always have. So when you say X-Men, I get excited, but they were like, yeah, and they're bringing back Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart to play Professor X and Magneto again. I'm like, aren't they like 80?
Very
right. It's like, we could didn't Fassbender already take Fassbender and what's his name? It was just in my head. James McAvoy Yeah, aren't they Professor X and Magneto now? Is it okay that those characters could be 40 instead of 80? Can we not be cool with that?
No. Also, it's variance. That's the word. I was like, invaluables, in something.
Derivative, multiplicative, factorial. Just start saying math.
I have a couple thoughts on this trailer, but there's only one that really matters.
Okay.
This is a very expensive conspiracy to get me, Andy Gibby Gibson, to like Reed Richards.
Fantastic!
Ho ho!
Disney's spending a lot of money to try to get me to like this one character who I have detested ever since I've been aware
of him. You don't like
Mr.
Fantastic?
Interesting.
Reed Richards is a piece of shit.
Okay.
I mean, fair.
I'm going to let you finish your thought about Reed Richards, and then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. Go.
Yes, Dr. Doom is wrong, but I just think of all of the protagonists, he is one of the most arrogant in a way that I don't find enjoyable. And the only way to remedy that is to cast my boy, my absolute icon of icons, Pedro Pascal, to try to get me to like him, because that's the only way. Or they've even got like out of, like a million different possibilities, that's the only one where this might actually succeed in getting me to like him.
Do you actually feel that way about Mr. Fantastic, or are you projecting Mr. Impossible from the Venture Brothers onto him?
Oh no.
There's a little bit of that.
Professor Impossible. I thought you were going to say Mr. Incredible for some reason.
No, Mr. Impossible is the Venture Brothers parody of Mr. Fantastic, and he's exactly what Gibby just described.
Yeah. Like, the whole thing is, I think of all of the parodies of superhero stuff that the Venture Brothers do, in my perspective, that's the most accurate of all of them. Because every, like, long-running storyline that's involved Reed Richards, no, I will not call him Dr. Reed Richards, because they need to take away his PhD after all the fuckery he's done across the Marvel universe.
Damn.
Yep. Okay, so maybe Dr. Doom was a little bit right.
No.
Only about picking this one asshole to be his antagonist.
Just the one.
Just everybody gets one.
No, I like the Fantastic Four conceptually. Like I said, The Thing is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
I think I just have a proclivity towards big dudes. I just like big dudes. Or like, my power is I punch real good. Like,
big dudes with heart.
Yeah, big dudes with heart. He punched real good, and he's got a thick New York accent. Yeah. I get so hyped. Again, Marvel Rivals. He's like, well, what do we have here? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
I like that.
Let's go, like, Ben.
I like that there's a lot of depth to him as well. Like, we get to know him as a person. We get to learn about, like, his Jewish heritage. And, like, I think it's nice whenever they do a comic about, like, Passover and we have all of the Jewish superheroes come together. I just think it's wholesome. I just think it's a good time. And most of the big punch dudes don't get to do that.
No, they don't. I know it's in like one of the little Disney Channel Marvel little series things, but it's like all the little chibi-fied like characters gathering around to do like a Hanukkah celebration with the thing. Like, but it's so wholesome.
I'm here for it.
It's so sweet.
He's my boy. I hope they treat him right in the movie. I hope he typically doesn't get a lot of screen time in the movies.
Because CG's expensive.
CG's expensive, and he's typically the least appealing of the Fantastic Four. That's his whole character arc. He's like, I'm a monster, and people don't like me.
It seems that we're kind of like past that point, which is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Like, we get so many like origin stories and redos with comic book movies that it's nice to be like, all right, you have passing knowledge of this property.
You guys know who these assholes are. This is their fifth movie.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm remembering Fantastic.
Fifth or fourth? This might be their fourth one. Because Chris Evans was in 2?
It depends if you count either the shitty 90s one or the shitty 2014
with Michael B.
one.
Jordan. Yeah.
So far there have been 2 Fantastic Four movies.
This is the fifth one. This is the fifth one.
And we've also seen different, like we saw the return of Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, in Deadpool Wolverine, but then we also got what's his face in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as
John Krasinski.
Yes, I was like, oh,
was he Mr. Fantastic?
Jim
in that
from
movie?
The Office.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a Mr. Fantastic. Shortly met his end after 5 minutes of screen time, but we've been seeing like pieces of the Fantastic Four in various ways. But now we're going to try giving them a movie again.
Yeah. And
it's got to stick eventually.
Yeah, hopefully it's not as bad as the other 4.
The Fantastic Fifth. Please, God, let this work.
Making Silver Surfer a sexy lady was a weird choice, I think.
I don't know why they did that.
But sexy silver lady.
Sure.
True.
So true.
Point taken. Moving on.
Speaking of trailers, we're back on our anime bullshit. The trailer for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 dropped not too long ago, so find that on the internet when you can.
We just waited long enough by postponing it to talk about JoJo's when it's relevant again, and totally not because I procrastinated.
I'm gonna make people assume this was completely planned and helps the algorithm out.
Yeah. JoJo's is trending again, baby.
We're doing JoJo's Part 4. As we tend to do with these, Gibby and I are pretty well versed in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and we're usually introducing it to Kaylie at these times. For me, Part 4 is particularly important, not only because I think we talked about this on the last JoJo's episode. At the time of recording, there are currently 8 JoJo's Bizarre Adventure parts, chapters, whatever you want to call them, completed, with the 9th in progress, as far as the mangas go. And then in the anime side, parts 1 through 6 are done, and part 7 is in production.
But 6 isn't dubbed yet, is it?
Jolene has been dubbed. Yeah, they did a very bad release with that, where it was like a simulcast, but they released half of the season together, and then like 6 months, 8 months, a year later, they released the other half in bulk.
Got it.
Hope you still have a Netflix subscription.
Yeah, it was the Netflix model. It didn't work. It was also during COVID. It was a bad time. But
like many things, it was a bad time.
It was a bad time. But what's really important about the anime is with every part comes an influx of fans at the very beginning of every part and the very end of every part. The established fan base gets really energized and the new fans come in. Part 4 is when I got into JoJo's. The end of part 4 is when I got into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Then watched all of it, went back, watched parts 1, 2, and 3, and then went forward and read parts 5, 6, and 7. Still need to finish 8. I'm going to give 9 some time to like cook.
Let him cook. Let Araki cook.
See what they're trying over there. There's some ideas, but I don't think Araki quite knows what he wants it to be yet.
It's in Hawaii. There's thievery. We'll figure something out along the way.
The protagonist's name is one letter separate from mine, which is weird.
Jodio.
JoJo's first official transgender character, and she's really cool.
Hey. Hell yeah.
Jodio's sister.
Wait, I didn't know I just guessed.
Yeah. His name is actually Jodio, yeah.
That's dope.
I got excited and I was like, Bo, it's almost your name. And you were like, ew.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
This ain't my first Jodio. Sorry.
I liked it.
Jesus.
Also, Editor Gibby, at some point during this segment, please play the little Morioh radio theme jingle. I fucking love that shit. it's so catchy.
JoJo's Part 4, much smaller stakes than arguably any of the other ones.
Which is kind of a crazy thing to say when the primary problem is there's an extremely deadly serial killer in our sizable town who has been operating for like a decade at this point.
More than.
Yeah, his entire life.
Yeah, like you look at the stakes and you're like, whoa, that's really intense. This is like CBS crime drama that lasts for like 8 seasons or something. And then you're like, oh yeah, the rest of it's about saving the world or something. So I guess the stakes are a little bit lower.
Well, not even that. It starts with, there's somebody here turning people into stand users. And there's also a serial killer. And then we just kind of lose the stand user plot and become friends with all of them until it's relevant again while we're hunting the serial killer.
That's I think that's a good jumping off point. Let me just start from the fucking beginning.
That's a good place to begin.
Yeah.
Jotaro, our protagonist from Part 3, shows up to this town called Morioh, in the middle of nowhere, Japan.
Still with a stupid ass hat.
And but it's white now.
Now
he's a marine biologist.
He's working on his PhD.
Yeah. He's grown, man. It's 17 or 18 years since Part 3 ended.
I thought it was less than, because, as I'm sure you're about to mention, our new main character was a small child when Egypt happened.
He was very, very tiny, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I mean,
Yeah,
but,
so I think you're right. It's been like 15 years.
But, like, yeah, a decade-ish. It's been a little bit.
Jotaro finds out that new superpowered folks are showing up in the middle of nowhere for some reason. He goes to check it out. He stumbles upon who turns out to be his uncle. And it's complicated. But we have this... Yeah, uncle.
Yes. Yeah.
It would be uncle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even half brother.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Joseph, you bastard!
What we discover is in this small town, stand users, so superpowered folks, are showing up kind of randomly. And from the rip, we think we have it solved. So from there, it's just meeting the people who have gained superpowers. And that's one of the things that Araki has said in interviews was his focus in Part 4. It was one of the themes is the weakness of the heart. So a lot of our bad guys aren't necessarily world-class criminals. A lot of them are just people who have come upon like superpower. I think of the guy with Locke, who's a scumbag, but he's just like a grifter.
Yeah.
The kid with Harvest, Pearl Jam, Cinderella.
Tonio.
Yeah, Tonio of Pearl Jam, where he's like, I just want to cook people Italian food.
He just wants to make some good Italian food.
Just normal people, low stakes.
Normal people, low stakes, and they come upon these great powers. Some of them abuse it, and some of them just like, I use this to fulfill my business, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we start, and then as we go, the stakes raise. But again, what's really cool about Part 4 is that the stakes never get to that world-ending level. They stay localized to this one kind of weird city.
Everywhere else in Japan just has a normal sky. In this one town, it's just yellow. And everybody else in Japan is just like, we're going to avoid that. That's some weird shit right there, man.
we don't fuck with Morioh, honestly. Y'all go have fun over there. We're going to stay over here. To your point, Bo, about just like the placement of like style that this one sits in, especially versus Part 3, I kept saying this is like Araki doing not full shoujo, but like slice of life with body horror.
Yeah.
Because every time I expect it to like kick up a notch, and sometimes we would, because then it's the like, oh, and now that we've figured this out, this thing we know or this person we know is in peril. But we will raise the stakes a teeny amount at a time. We never jump astronomically. And every time I expected it to like, oh, and so now it's going to blow wide open. No, we kind of have a reset moment where we just let them go about having a slice of life and kind of reset the bar a little bit before we move it another half an inch up the rung of the stakes meter.
Oh, no, that makes sense because it's like there's 39 episodes of this one in total, which is fewer than Part 3. We spend like 2 straight episodes hanging out with Josuke and his buddies trying to make some money off of the lottery, and then having like a 15-year-old argument about like, I should get the money.
Is this what Japanese teenagers did in the 90s, was just contemplate how to scam people all the time?
This is what I did in the 2000s. Like, y'all watched Ed, Ed, and Eddie growing up. I was trying to live that.
Shit, you're right. Oh my God, you're right.
You didn't see that documentary?
Which documentary?
Ed, Ed, and Eddie. It was a documentary about like 90s suburban life.
I see.
You just need a quarter to get a jawbreaker. You know what I'm saying?
The economy was very different back then.
The economy was mad
really
different.
was. That damn inflation.
But you're right in that, like, it takes a lot of time before getting to, like, serious stakes, and that's why I like it. Like, I like that we have time to get to know people. Like, we get to know some honestly pretty iconic characters. Like, we get to hang out with Koichi like on his own for a lot of time. We get to see like his arc, and he's not just, you know, a sidekick to Josuke in the same way that somebody like Ario Speedwagon would have been, and he's not just like another guy who's in the troupe, like insert Muscle Man number 4 from part 3. Like, you get to see like a lot of
Polnareff alone.
I was talking about Kakyoin, but I think that just shows my point off more. We get to spend time with my boy, my dumb boy, Okuyasu.
Yeah.
And get to see like his time.
You would vibe with him.
I
so
love
much.
him. I will not apologize for how much I love him.
That's very fair.
We get to spend time with him and see how he goes from basically just like a dude that has others tell him everything to do to like making his own decisions. Like, and even when it's not like at the beginning, we still see people like come into the group and become part of it. Like Ian's favorite character, Rohan Kashibe.
Rohan did grow on me. I do quite enjoy him. He's a bit of a priss, but I do really like him.
It was the least surprising thing I've ever heard when Ian said that was his favorite character.
I love the writer character. This is great.
The self-insert. I'm shocked that.
No, I don't think it's more of a self-insert, but and we can come back to this later of just the like, I kind of, as we meet all these different people in and around the town, not only is it like the weird, there's a nice mundane bizarreness. Like, this is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of the mundane and the supernatural at the same time. Because somehow in the mundanity of like little like city suburbia, we have a major manga artist just living amongst town, a world-class Italian chef, and like, again, you know, some of these are people that didn't start their main thing until they got their stand and realized I have these powers now. But like, Tonio was traveling around cooking, doing all of this shit. We have some of these characters that have been like on whatever little weirdo track they're on, whether in skills, whether in just like, that's just who you are in life anyways. Like, already kind of in a weird, like, I mean, yeah, I could see how you are a Stan user. You're giving me weird vibes, but like, what were you before this?
Also,
all of these are people that were turned into Stan users. What were you doing before then? And then, we have ghosts. We have an alien. Like, what the hell is happening in Morioh?
Something's in the water there, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Apparently.
All of that, we described it exactly right. It's this nice balance between an action show, but also just like a slice of life show.
Yeah.
We get to watch these punk kids be as such and just be kind of doofuses. And then whatever villain shows up and mucks around with them.
Not to just like keep comparing it to like the other parts, but think about it like this. In part 1 and 2, you've got 19-year-olds who are built like Arnold and having to like run around, fight the world dominating vampires. Same with part 3. I don't know if, you know, Jotaro's even like 19 in that part or anything. Here's a bunch of 15-year-olds. They're just doing shit in their hometown. And then immediately it's like, hey, here's some teenagers that are taking over a large multinational gang in Europe.
About that, we can kind of go into like we can come back to the characters and whatnot, because I think that's what's the most fun to talk about in the show.
Yeah.
the characters in the story. But to go into how it looks, this was, so if you look at Araki's old stuff, his big inspiration was stuff like actors from Arnold, right? Terminator, big steroidy actors, as well as works like Fist of the North Star. Part 4 is the literal transition to where his now like more artsy, more elegant looking characters,
beautiful genderless twinks.
Yeah, basically.
Just wait till you get to part 5, buddy.
Hell yeah.
The transition quite literally happened in the manga of this, where chapter 1 Josuke looks way different from the last chapter Josuke. David Productions, the folks who made the anime, decided to take this middle ground where it's somewhere between both paths. And again, this is my nostalgia talking, but I think this is the best of both worlds, where they have this very interesting pop art look that's like between the softness of the modern Araki style, but still has like the proportions of the old Araki style, right? Like Gibby said, oh yeah, big muscle men. Josuke's still like 6'4". And Okayasu's just as tall as he is. They're huge dudes.
Which that was one thing I did really like about this one, was like, we're getting a lot of different like, body type style diversities, where we have just like some of these guys are just guys and some of them are anime guys. But then we also have so many shorter characters too. Like, it's not just Koichi, who's like the scrawny shrimpy sidekick. Like, there are so many people that are just like at a noticeably shorter height that I kept trying to like puzzle out. I mean, sure, it's Araki playing with style and shape and body types. Like, that's very evident across this weave of characters. But like, I'm like, is it like a genetic thing in Morioh? Because we have so many people that are like at this height, but now I can't gather for the life of me what this height is comparatively to people. Like, Josuke's a bad example because him and Jotaro are fucking giants.
Correction. In terms of like, and this is inconsistent with how the drawing goes, in terms of like their written down stats, Jotaro's 6'5", Josuke is 5'11". They're not that different. Yeah. But that's one of the defining traits of the Joestar family, or at least in parts 1, 2, and 3. That's one of the Joestar family. Yeah, they're huge guys. Like, one of the things about Jonathan is like, he's a physical specimen, and Joseph kept that, and Jotaro obviously kept that. It's my favorite thing about Josuke design wise, and how he 1-to-1 compares to Jotaro. Where Jotaro has this old, the style's called Bancho, right? Where he's like this hardened, always scowling, probably has like a stick or a cigarette in his mouth. I'm a gangster, but I'm going to take care of shit. Josuke looks like somebody who would have been one of his goons. Or he just kind of like walking around being a sweet guy. You make fun of his hair. He sees red. He doesn't think.
You and I both watched the Super Eye Patch Wolf video in preparation.
No, I watched that. I mean, I watched that like years ago.
Like 7 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Bodio's just got this on lock.
I really like part 4.
Yeah.
But what's cool about these two, from the rip, right? We see that Josuke is not Jotaro. Josuke, the power of Josuke's scan, Crazy Diamond, is he can repair things. He can make things as they once were, which means he can heal people. It's just he could do that to everything except himself. So he has this ability to affect everything around him, but he's like self-sacrificing in that, just by nature of how his ability works. You add on top of that, he's imposing just because of his bloodline. From the second we meet him, we come in with Jotaro. Jotaro finds the stand user who he thinks might be the issue, but then he recognizes, like, we're the same, and that's scary to me. Josuke freaks out on him, and Jotaro whips his ass.
Yeah.
Like, Jotaro handles him without even thinking about it, which I think is cool, because we have this character who's self-sacrificing, but he's also not invincible. With Jotaro, there were never stakes. It was just, when is he going to aura hard enough to just kill people? With Josuke, there was always a feeling it's like, hey, he could lose this fight because he's vulnerable.
Very that. I think what really sets him apart from some of the other JoJo's is that he is nice, but he's not a pushover. Yeah. But he's also not boring. Like, the biggest criticism that I hear about somebody like Jonathan is that he is a gentleman and like nothing else. Yeah. Versus Josuke combines like the fun side of Joseph as well as that like determination of Jotaro and Jonathan, while like having like morality kind of like in between all of them, because he's like a kid. Like, this is like a high school sophomore right here. Like, you wouldn't expect him to have like all of his values set in stone or anything.
See the how can we cheat at the lottery and gambling.
Yeah. he's not like a battle genius or anything. He's very down to earth, but he's also still inquisitive. Yeah. He also still can think on his toes, and we see him grow as a person. I do not like JoJo's Part 3. I think it's bad.
Hear, hear. Us with our controversial opinions.
I think JoJo's Part 3 is worth it to get Jotaro in JoJo's Part 4.
Yeah.
Where he can be this back in my day kind of grizzled, let me show you how it's done, little dude.
Yeah.
Part 3 is worth it for the road roller, goddammit.
Jotaro versus Dio is sick. I'm not going to take that away from anybody.
But exactly. Now we have the grizzled veteran instead of the angry teenager Jotaro.
Yeah, but mentor Jotaro is so cool to have, especially with Josuke. And on that same merit, I think Joseph Joestar might be my favorite character in all of media.
Wow.
I was thinking about this because you get to see him throughout his entire life in ways that we don't see other characters. He's the protagonist of Part 2, and in Part 2 we see him in childhood and mostly in his teen years.
And he's a little shit.
When he's a little shit, but he's exciting and he's funny.
Yeah.
We see him in Part 3 where he takes the role of mentor, even though Jotaro doesn't really need one, but he still gets to be there, and he still gets to be the, hey, we can have lady bad guys because they'll just fight the old man. Anyway, and then in Part 4, we get this really vulnerable version of like a hero character that I don't think other pieces would do, because he's known for one of the things he's known to be brash and stupid, but he's also known to have like a really high moral code. He committed an awful sin. He committed adultery. He cheated on his wife.
He cheated on Susie Q, god damn it.
Yeah, he cheated on his wife.
Fucking bastard.
This is the bastard. Our main character is the bastard from him doing probably the worst thing he's ever done. And we get to see him as this old man who's so old and fragile he can't even fight anymore.
Yeah.
And we got Kit like this kind of melancholy of seeing Joseph in the end of his life, but we also get to see this like, we all know that he did this and we reprimanded him. Nobody's angry at him. Susie Q, we talk about Susie Q. She's still in America doing her thing. Jotaro's like, old man stupid. I thought he hated Japanese people. Whatever. Right. You're my family. I'm still going to take care of you.
The last time we saw this man, he was at an airport going, curse the Japanese. Cut to.
Yeah. And I think it's cool that the episode where they get the baby.
Yep.
And Josuke is like, hey, I know you've never met your dad. Spend an afternoon taking care of this invisible baby with your dad. And he's like, what? My geriatric father. That's one of my favorites.
You know, I don't think Susie Q's gonna love that he's bringing home a baby when he's like 80 years old.
This isn't what it looks like.
Susie Q would love that. Susie Q would be like, that child is mine.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
Really, the darkest part of this entire arc is that we never find that baby's parents.
Right.
So, like, as soon as, like, we're like, hey, we took care of the serial killer thing that's been a problem for, like, 30 years or so, there's gonna be two people that aren't in the parade And they're just like, has anybody seen a baby recently?
In canon, she ends up joining the Joestar family. Like,
sure.
Joseph takes her home. He takes her to America, and they raise her. Yeah. She becomes a Joestar in name. I love part 4. It's an accumulation of everything that's come before it.
Yes.
Distilled into like what's most fun. And I also think it's impossible to talk about this without getting into our antagonist, Yoshigaki Kira, aka the scariest man on earth.
Dio, you ain't shit to me anymore.
This David Bowie looking asshole just skulking around.
I don't remember who created Death Note, but I want to know, and I'm assuming it's Araki with JoJo's that had the earlier publication date. But I want to know,
yeah, for sure.
Is this where we got Kira, Killer, and Death Note? Is this where that came from? Or is it just the same joke being made by a different person?
Everything comes from JoJo.
Yoshikage Kira. A dude who lives in Morioh. He's been in Morioh his entire life. He just does his thing. He wants nothing more than to live his life and be left alone.
Except...
The problem is, part of living his life is killing women whose hands he finds attractive and then having sexual relations with those hands.
Because he originally found the Mona Lisa's hands really sexy.
Araki backstory. What the fuck, my guy?
Again, my own biases. This taught me what I like about villains. His motivation.
I was worried about where that sentence was going.
This taught me what I like about women. No. His motivations are simple. He's despicable and he's horrifyingly capable.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss. Gibby, take over because I'm like gushing and I can't think of what to
Rohan's
say.
like observations, like his tenacity is impressive.
It is though.
Well, what I really like about him is that he tries to stay under the radar, and because of that, we don't get any hammy, like, ha! I'm the villain, and I'm doing evil. His whole deal is, I'm going to live a normal life, and to me, this horrible, awful thing that I do is normal. And the way that he treats it, he goes on dates with severed hands. He, is talking to them like the rest of the person is still attached to it. He is so unsettling, but he's also completely benign if you're not aware of what he's doing. He's just a guy that works at a department store?
It's like an office, I think.
He's an office worker.
Fucking salary man.
It just makes it so much more realistic of the scariest people are not going to be the ones who are like, look at me, I'm Mr. Evil Man, PhD. No, it's the guys that stick to themselves 10 years later. On an episode of Forensic Files, everybody in their neighborhood goes, he seemed so normal whenever he came to the cookouts, whenever he came to the town charter meetings. He just seemed like a really normal guy.
And it's accented so well when they go to his house and they find just all the shit. He's like, this guy's psychotic because he spent his entire life intentionally not showing up, intentionally not standing out. Being in pictures where you can barely see him, getting third place trophies, and he has so many third places. They're like, why are they all third place? Right, intentionally getting mediocre grades just so he wouldn't stand out. This guy psychotically is like, I want to blend in.
Yeah,
but also he has the power to, if you notice him, he will be like,
you die.
This is the one time I'm being honest. This is what I'm up to. You're throwing off my REM sleep schedule right here, my guy.
Right.
And I'm not going to have time to go and pick up some milk, which I like to drink before I go to bed. And because of that, you're dead now.
And then he blows up a teenager.
Yeah.
He blows up a sweet boy. He murders people in cold blood.
Shigekyo, you were a weird little dude.
He's so, again, we always say this when we're speaking about characters in fiction. Capable people are very compelling. Like people who can just like get shit done. Bro, he gets shit done so horrifyingly efficiently.
And very realistically gets away with it.
Mm-hmm.
For like the rules of this world.
Yeah.
Like, every time it's like, how did he get away? Well, he was really smart about it.
What's the walking bomb ability he has? Not bites the dust. Heart attack.
Sheer heart attack.
Sheer heart attack.
Because
that's
all of
bullshit.
All of his stands are named after Queen songs,
which is awesome.
Killer Queen, Sheer Heart Attack, and Bites the Dust.
Bites the Dust, which is hilarious because he was based on David Bowie. So if
you couldn't have gotten us like Heroes or like Ziggy Stardust or anything. I guess they couldn't afford the rights to it.
No.
Sheer heart attack is bullshit. That's the one power I was like, that's not fair.
What? Not like sticking another stand user in yourself like Krang? That's fine.
I was actually about to say that. Again, one of the interesting things about one of the themes rather is people working together. Again, by merit of Josuke's stand, it's hard for him to use his stand ability by himself, especially when he's learning how to use it. But using it in conjunction with his friends, namely Koichi and Okuyasu, proves to be like really successful for him. Kira also does that.
I didn't think about that.
In introducing all of these like mundane stand users, we also throw in a couple animals just to be crazy.
Yeah, here's a rat.
Yeah, here's two rats. They're fucking shit up. Go take care of that in your training arc. They introduce a cat who has a stand power. Kira's stand looks suspiciously feline.
The first time we're introduced to Killer Queen, and like it's got its arms crossed, it's a silhouette.
Like he's a Wakanda?
I was like, not Wakanda forever, the stand.
But we see this cat, and all the cat wants to be is left alone. Yeah. And it's shooting bubbles that explode at Kira and almost kills him.
Horrifying.
Yeah, horrifying. That power's cool. I'm going to kill this cat, put him into a potted plant, make that potted plant into a stand, and shove that in my stand's tummy. So now I have an extra power.
Like Krang.
But I think that's accents because it's like, A, it proves how capable he is, how his unique problem solving, how unique his problem solving can be.
He's a great creative problem solver.
Yeah.
Everybody's just so creative.
But B, it also proves that, hey, Kira also stands with this overall theme of teamwork. It takes a way different appearance with him, a much more horrifying one.
No, not that way. Wrong way.
But even he has to rely on others to get what he wants. And ultimately, people coming together, there's a subplot where Kira's whole thing is that they don't know who he is. And when they do find out who he is, he manages to escape again. He steals the life. Literally, Skinwalker face steals another guy's family. And that guy's son, Hayato, figures out, it's like, that's not my dad. That's somebody, I don't know what's going on. So Hayato has to not only discover that's going on, also find the people who could stop his dad, evil dad. Meanwhile, his evil dad can turn back time and kill everybody who finds out who he is.
Indulge me for a second real quick.
Yeah.
Hayato.
Gibby did a visual gag. This is not a visual medium.
That was not in the manga. They just decided to add that for reasons.
Because it's funny, bro.
Kira just got really close to the camera all of a sudden.
We've got to do some insane anime eyes at some point.
It gave me serious Hannibal Lecter vibes.
Yes.
I was like, that adds on to it, yeah.
The way, like, partially, not like to fully deviate from Kira, but on that note of like the team and assembling the team and the way that we use stands together in teamwork, like we meet everybody as antagonists. Basically, except for the main four characters and their family, basically. Everybody we meet has shit against Okuyasu, Koichi, or Josuke. And then we either kick their ass and get rid of them, which is like at least four. And then everybody else is actually, no, I like you guys now. And we add them to the roster. But there are so many of these new, I've been shot with an arrow made stan users whose stan powers are nothing short of full-on body horror.
Yep.
And it's like so startling and really delightful that that's what this whole series is about. Like, it's not just Kira being a fucking psychopath and like skin stealing and slipping into the lives like some fucking Twilight Zone alien entity.
Do you have any standouts that you were like, oh, this guy?
Standouts.
Well, I was Aya, Cinderella.
Yeah.
That entire episode. Like, Yukiko is a great, not full on, but very borderline. She talked herself down a little bit. Good for her. That's some growth. But Yandere character in the JoJo's series, like, this might be our first Yandere in JoJo's. Good job. But like her whole, I love you and I'm gonna kidnap you to make you love me and I'm gonna teach you English. God damn it, Koichi. Mini arc with him as an antagonist, and then her trying to get him to actually like her because she does have a really unrequited love crush on him. And the fairy godmother's like, oh, here's my makeup that'll make you beautiful for 30 minutes and irresistible. Of course it's a fucking stand. But then like crumbles her face away and then is like, oh, you have to pick your face. But be careful, whatever you pick, you'll be stuck with forever. These are all the faces of the women that I've used my stan on. Like that as like a concept. Meeting Rohan when he's still intimidating and is like, I'm gonna open your face and take the pages of your life and it's draining your essence and your weight. That's a fucking Twilight Zone shit. Honestly, Okuyasu and his brother, and I'm blanking on his name, their
Nobody
father,
It's Keiko.
he's just like that. Like he was like corrupted by whatever the fuck Dio did to his blood, and he's just like this now.
He's a little monster, a little green guy.
And Tonio, I love the episode. I love the Tonio episode so much because it's truly such a great embodiment of this like slice of life body horror thing Araki's doing, where it's like we're just going out to a restaurant to have a great time and going through violent transformations with every course of this meal. Oh, I feel great. Wow, that was delightful. Like, because you're just imagining these as real people. Like, you get to know these, like, mundane, normal, average lives, and then witnessing the bizarre part of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it's juxtaposed in such a way that I'm like, no, honestly, this is scarier than some of the vampire shit, man.
Yep. Dio ain't got shit on gelatinous cube farm as caused by a couple of rodents.
Right.
Dio would look at that and just be like, oh, I don't think so. Not anymore.
Nah, not for me.
And even how we started off, like we start the series with like Josuke's the loss of his grandfather because of a stan user, and like that's part of why Jotaro sticks around. It's like, okay, well, it's clearly not Josuke. We've got to find why stan users are popping up, and this guy's like, here's my stan that can control water, and like once it's in you, like it's like it is liquid, it is so hard to detect. I'm like, oh, yikes.
Scary.
Like every time you think that a stan is like, no, there's nothing that can really top this as far as a like weird, creepy or unsettling power, there's another one.
I'm a creepy guy who sits on your back and I'm whispering in your ear.
Right.
If you look at me, you explode.
Yeah.
You die.
This fucker that we throw in at the very end of the series, I'm like, I hate him. I don't like this one at all. Get him out of here.
Is it weird that I think Stray Cat is the scariest of all of them? Because
that,
like
conceptually is terrifying.
Air bubbles in your blood are some of the most painful possible feelings that a human can feel. And there's just a flower cat that's just launching those everywhere.
I love Pet Cemetery.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I think that's what I find scary about Stray Cat is that they kill it, they do it, whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna put this in a flower, and that works for me now. I'm like, why does that work? Why can he do that? Why is he allowed to do that? That's
why
illegal.
did this work?
The power of Killer Queen
Answers.
was just like fucking around with matter.
I think we can use that to transition to some of the weaknesses of part 4. Kaylie and I have talked about this a little bit. I want to start with this one because this is one I feel passionately about. The introduction of a MacGuffin. The stand arrow is stupid and it doesn't go anywhere for a very long time.
Yeah.
It works at first. The thing about Slice of Life is that it's a train. Life goes on, the train keeps chugging.
Yeah.
It's really hard to accept that when you're also doing there is a time limit and things are at stakes plot.
Yeah.
While things just chug along at the same time. Because, like, on the one hand, yeah, these are just teenagers living their life, and, like, we don't really have any leads at the moment, but, like, there's some guy out there turning people into stand users, and some of them are not good people. Like, we don't want to go out and find that and nip that in the bud?
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, we just run into them.
They just show up. Well, that's where it irks me, right? So in part 3, the justification for stand users is it's something latent you have in yourself. Because the whole premise of part 3, right, is Dio stole Jonathan's body. That activated Jonathan's stand, which then became Dio's stand. And since it activated in Dio, it activated in all the other Joestars, and that's what's killing Holly.
Yeah.
She's not physically or spiritually strong enough. We find out neither was Josuke when he was little. And that's why we're going to Egypt to go kill the gay vampire to save Jotaro's mom. Now we say, by the way, he had this magic arrow that when you stick people with it, they either die, turn into a monster like Okuyasu's dad, or get stands. And so Kira's dead father has possessed a photo of himself.
A lot of ghosts in this one.
There's so many ghosts.
And is flying around as a paper airplane, stabbing people with this arrow. I assume killing most of them. And when they get their superpower, they are compelled to go and fuck around with Josuke and friends just to act as a wall between them and Kira. Which, no matter how you spin it, is fucking dumb.
Is it just a situation of, like, he sees Kira on, his serial killing adventure, and he's like, that's my boy.
That's exactly what it is.
That's basically it. Like, we get from that episode where they go to Kira's, like, childhood home that, like, his parents, or at least his dad, we don't know fuck about his mom, but, like, his dad at least clearly seemed to be, like, maybe not, like, aiding and abetting him doing this, but, like, was proud of his boy because his whole power, drive, whatever it is, like, is to keep people from getting in Kira's way. Like, that is what he does.
It's like Dexter, but if Dexter's dad was even shittier.
And now I'm just thinking of that one scene where he's just like, isn't there just a place where a man can go and stab a bunch of people with an arrow? Why does life have to be so complicated? Editor's note, Gibby was thinking about the wrong Dexter.
It's fucking stupid. And I think this is the thing Kaylie and I have directly spoken about. I think because there's so many extra stand users, pacing gets rough.
It's even worse in the manga.
Yeah, apparently it's worse in the manga.
And there's a lot of false leads because this person has been going around shooting people like with the arrow, and it's also unclear to me if the arrow has fallen into multiple hands, because we find it with Keicho Nijimura, Okuyasu's brother. That's who we've plucked it from, but then it's taken away by Chili Pepper, and we go, oh, so this must be who had it before, was the rocker Akira. Go off, my dude, go off, I guess. But we think, oh, that he must be, like, maybe not the big bad, but up there. Like, it's gotta be okay, we're still just kind of kicking around in Morioh, and things are still happening, so maybe it wasn't just him, but the Speedwagon Foundation has the arrow now, so things ought to be fine. Oh, fuck, there's another one.
Yeah.
What? Why were there two in one place?
If you don't like that, you are really not gonna like part 5.
I have a feeling.
And that's what I was saying. The arrow doesn't go away, and it doesn't go away for a long time. And I think that's a weakness in parts 4 and 5. I don't think it's around for part 6, but part 6 has other weird stuff,
other bizarre stuff.
Dio just fucks a lot in part 6.
And it's like, yes, a lot of these like world building stands are really cool. The ones that become Pearl Jam, Harvester, Stray Cat, those are cool. Yeah. But I don't give a fuck about the kid who makes you play rock, paper, scissors.
You leave boys to men alone.
I don't care.
Why you got a hole in your face? Why do you got a hole in your face, kid? Japanese healthcare is not that bad. They gotta have something for that.
You can get that taken care of, little man. These goofy, wacky characters sometimes take up a little too much oxygen.
Yeah. Or even, what's his name? Yuya. His stand power isn't even that he smells good. He can just do that.
He can just do that, yeah.
He can just do that. His stand just drains the life out of people once they've entered his trap house.
Yeah.
But like,
he's another stupid one who I don't care about.
I thought they were gonna have something more to do with him, but no.
No, they kick his ass. He comes back. He helps them out, and then he's gone.
Got his fucking fangirls as like a 17-year-old.
Yeah. And that's something that JoJo's never quite overcomes. There's always points in the middle where it gets so excited with its new stand users that it's like, why are we even fucking around with this guy? Can we not leave him alone? Can we not just go, please?
At least in like 3 and 5, it's like, yeah, we're gangs. We're an organized criminal space. Versus these are the guys you see at the city council meeting.
Right. Like, I just see this guy on the bus.
Who are you? Why did you pop up?
You pushed me into a locker once. That was an accident. Die!
I love the headcanon that, not even in the series, my headcanon is that, there are artists that just like on Twitter, on Tumblr, whatever, that just like, I made this character today. Like Araki is an OC factory. Araki just constantly generates like OCs and other like characters. Is like, I made another one.
It's like, no, it's literally us thinking up goofy, creepy little characters. You want to see the silly little guy I just made up?
Right.
Here you go.
Hey, I'm the one with the copyright on silly little guys in this group.
Yeah.
It's a shame Tumblr did not exist when like Araki was like drawing and making the JoJo's mangas like as it was getting off the ground, because like my mans would have been going to town, being like, here's my journal dump of my new OC and like all the things about their personality, and then here's this one I just drew them because they're really pretty. I don't know what they do.
By the way, here's really body horror.
Right.
There would have been way too many Tumblr sexy men, so it's a good thing that like this didn't happen at the same time as each other.
My last personal sticking point with this, again, something Kaylie and I spoke about. Kaylie, how do you feel about time travel?
I expected it, but not in the way that we got it. And that's where I'm frustrated, because I feel like in the last 10 episodes, we just sort of went back and forth. Like, I feel like I just drew a figure 8 like 10 times over of like, what the fuck this, why are we doing this? Like, we're convoluting things and taking up time in ways that like frustrate me as a like, where is this narratively going other than to show off, oh, Kira can do more than we've come to believe. Sure, okay. But for fuck's sake, we know like 15 people that could help us now. Get them on this. My whole thing was that by the time we figured out that Akira wasn't not Akira.
Akira.
Yes, not Kira. Akira wasn't the big bad. But like when Chili Pepper steals the bow and arrow, I'm like, hey, Chili Pepper's design's kind of weird. As we see Koichi's stand evolve, I'm like, oh, that's weird that they look similar. Josuke gives us the flashback story about the hair and the guy out in the car. I'm like, that's weird that this just suspiciously is like the same build and frame and everything as his person. Oh. Okay. And so by the time we start introducing the fact that Kira has the ability to fuck with time, because the only other person whose stand has been able to fuck with time has been Jotaro. Like, that was a big fucking deal. that Star Platinum can stop time. We've got another one who can do time shit. And so I went, oh, is there going to be a whole reveal? Because why would there have been 2 bows and arrows? Maybe this whole thing comes about into a Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban kind of time situation. We get blasted into different points in time to set up the pieces that eventually lead to how we got here. You know, that wasn't my father I saw, that was me. No! Yeah. No! None of that!
He was just a guy.
Like, that was where I got so frustrated of, like, are you fucking kidding me? I expected this to get so much more, like, crazily interconnected and bizarre, and it didn't. We just, like, typed edit undo over and over again until we just blew him up and got him run over by an ambulance.
Kira's power is just like the remote control from the Fairly Odd Parents, just the redo button.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying in the JoJo fan community, Araki forgot.
Yes, I have heard this.
I like to say it instead of that. I like to say Araki changed his mind.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And that's definitely what that whole situation reads as. Where it's like, yeah, we're gonna do some time travel shenanigans, and Josuke saved himself. That's why it's an integral plot point that he's like, yeah, this guy with the same hairstyle that I started doing mine showed up, and he was hurt, he was battle scarred, but we never quite found out why.
Yeah,
right. And it's like, oh, so it's clearly him. He gets put back in time. We know time shenanigans are possible. And then Araki was like, no, I'm gonna do Bites the Dust is this instead.
but not that way, time shenanigans. Time shenanigans this way. No!
I like it. I'll be honest. I like that the serial killer has the power to say, shit, I fucked up. Let's go back and try it again. And he keeps trying to perfect it, and it keeps like slipping away from him over and over again. And right when he thinks he's out of it and that he controls all the variables, he gets hit by a goddamn ambulance.
Gets ran over by an ambulance.
That is so funny and so good of an ending to me.
It's a great Groundhog's Day, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, we just spent the last 4 months getting our ass whipped by that guy, and he just got hit by a car. He got fucking isekai'd into hell.
It would have been really funny if he went so far back that he accidentally went to, like, halfway through the series before he even gets introduced, and Josuke and Okuyasu are just like, holy shit, some guy just got hit by a car.
Right, it's in episode
like Mean Girls.
1.
Yeah.
He just gets hit by the bus. God.
Damn, that's crazy. Anyways, I got a lottery ticket.
Yeah, anyway, the alien downstairs gave me some, like, sweet Jordans. Do you want to go play basketball?
Yeah, on his very, very distant sidebar that has nothing to do with this, Mickey Taco makes a great pair of sneakers.
Okay.
Those look cool.
They do. They look sick.
I have closing thoughts that are completely different.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about some of the localization English names of some of these stands.
Here we go.
I'm just gonna do the best ones because I think they're really good. They change due to copyright for all of these.
Mm-hmm.
Enigma becomes Mysterioso, which is just like, ooh, Mysterioso.
Mysterioso.
Pearl Jam becomes Pole Jam, which doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, it doesn't.
That has connotations.
Highway Star becomes Highway Go-Go.
Yep.
Which I love because we get to hear Heaven's Door say, this stand's name is Highway Go-Go, in a very serious tone of voice. Coming in second place, Boys to Men, Boys Man.
Yes!
They did the multiplication there. And finally, the greatest English translation due to copyright in JoJo's history, Bad Company becomes Worse Company!
It's so stupid! I love it!
It's amazing. I love this dumbass show.
Copyright laws can't be that tight.
Look, man.
Right. They can.
Bad Company's lawyers would have sued Araki so hard.
if I have a silly little dude, he wears a tank top, and I don't know, he's got hedge clippers, and I'm like, hey, that's John Piccolo. Dragon Ball Z can't come and sue me and be like, you named him Piccolo. You know what I mean?
Goku is going to come to your house and beat you up. This is called cease. This is called desist. As he raises his hands at you.
Kaylie, closing thoughts.
Not Gibby stands cease and desist.
English translation, stop and leave.
No, I do really like JoJo's 4. I really do. I liked 3 a lot, but I feel like, kind of to our points earlier, like, it's smaller, it's contained, it's in its own world. Its own world of weirdos. We just keep making more of them, and again, kind of losing that, like, oh man, these used to be such a rarity, and now got every other person in this fucking town as a stand now, I guess. But aside from like that kind of a qualm about like the lore the original series is originally set out, etc., I really love it. Like, just as a stranger slice of life, mystery of the week kind of, it almost feels like it's so large in the scope because we get all these characters and the way that their lives have interconnected, or like what's changed in the town, you know, what hasn't, and where are just people as people and what they're doing despite the strange new powers that they now have to deal with. There's a lot of great character interplay and exchange, and some really just fun, stupid little side villains and side characters that kind of color the picture of Morioh and the cast around our main crew, that it is really like a nice, delightful little its own cosmic world in the greater universe of all that is in JoJo's. And I say that not knowing what's to come in the next parts, but like, I don't know, where it feels like watching part 3, I'm kind of imagining everything else that will come afterwards filling the same scope. This has filled like a smaller but tighter space.
Yeah.
Which is, it's, and like, nice to know that's like, hey, going forward, you know, hope the rest of these people are still doing fine wherever they are and whatever time we move on to next. Because, like, for all intents and purposes, that's kind of what it seems to set up, is just that, like, hey, after, we got rid of the serial killer and everyone that's still here just goes about their lives, living their best life with their stands. Good job, Morioh.
Except Hayato. Hayato's going to a lot of therapy.
Yeah, he's got time, though. He's, like, 5. Yeah.
For me, I think there's a reason why, of all the JoJo's parts that are revisited, part 4 is the one that is most often. Rohan has several side stories.
Yeah.
There's a side story where we come back to Morioh and some other stuff happens. There's a whole side story where Whole Horse from part 3 shows up in Morioh and he solves a mystery with Josuke. It's very fun.
Sure.
This is the most character driven of all the JoJo parts so far, which makes it, I don't think the best, but it is probably my favorite. JoJo's part 4, 10 out of 10, super crispy. Go consume that shit.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That has been this episode of the Liberal Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever. Give us the 5 stars, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Join us next time when we stab children with arrows.
Oh.
Give them superpowers, I swear. Promise.
Okay.
Yep. Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodio, Kaylie Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at Liberal Artists Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
We're making a lot of wrestling references, and I know today's WrestleMania. I'm not watching it because
is Mania today?
Yeah.
The second day Christ was in the tomb, WrestleMania occurred.
And on the third day, he rose and body slammed Andre the Giant.
And here comes a steel crucifix.
And here comes Mary of Nazareth with the steel chair.
No, they're gonna do that entrance tomorrow, but it's Roman Reigns as they roll the Rock back. Wait, it's actually the Rock. They roll the Rock over.
You hear the Stone Cold glass shatter, and Jesus walks out of the tomb.
He is risen, brother.
Austin 316 takes on a whole different meaning.
If you've been redeemed by the love of Christ, give me a hell yeah.
So
we got James. What? We got Peter. What?
We got Simon Peter. What? We got Judas.
It's nice when we get the stinger out of the way.
Oh, fuck.